Greetings from Southern New Hampshire University, Justice 224, Joe Davis here. Wanted to take a couple minutes to go through the 1-2 activity in Module 1, the very first week. This is one of the first assignments and a chance for me to share with you what I think you need to include in it, and also how the grading rubric works. So take a look at the assignment. It's in 2 or 3 different places, but clearly it's under 1-2. And what you have to do is you have to create and submit a flowchart to illustrate the case advancement process. And in that you have to address how a case travels from the lowest to the highest court. There is a link listed in there, as it says here in the little PowerPoint, to use called How Courts Work, and that is from the American Bar Association. So if for some reason you can't access it, you can find it through ABA. Once you take a look at that and get an idea of what you're supposed to be looking for, you need to find the one from your home state. So mine's California, so later on in this presentation I'll show you an example from California. You should be able to find it under the Superior Courts, under the State Bar Association. You shouldn't have too much difficulty finding a reputable source of case flow for a criminal case, which is the next item, the next bullet. It says explain a criminal case proceeds. So you may see things like juvenile cases and civil cases and child custody cases. Find the criminal case proceeds. All of that other stuff is interesting to look at, but you don't need it for this assignment. Just find the criminal case and then identify which court has jurisdiction over each part of the process. In your narrative to go with it, which you'll see there are examples on most of the websites that you'll go to, you need to explain how this hierarchy of the court system impacts the criminal justice practitioner. That's us. That's not necessarily a defendant. You could argue it would be a prosecutor or a defense attorney, but we're more interested in how does it apply to a police officer, a probation officer, a correctional officer, someone operating in community corrections, something like that. And then why do we, practitioners, why do we have to follow case law handed down by appellate courts? You need to then submit a brief reflection in which you explain further the elements of your flowchart. And by brief, I don't know how long that is. A paragraph or two, probably a couple paragraphs, maybe 3. What I'm interested in is your critical thinking skills here, not just some lengthy thing that you've cut and pasted from a website or something like that. A brief reflection, meaning your ideas, your thoughts, your critical thinking skills, your evaluation. Then you have to relate it to the course concepts and theories. That would be the things that we've talked about, or I talked about in other little presentations. It's in the material. And then explain how this hierarchy impacts the criminal justice practitioner. And quite simply, everyday Superior Court decisions really have little or no impact on us because they have no impact on the other courts. A state Supreme Court decision has a direct and lasting impact on all of us. So that would give you an idea of what to be thinking about. The rubric, this will be your first substantive assignment where you need to look at the rubric. Please take a look at it and make sure you understand what the critical elements are, because that's what I'm going to be looking for. As I said in another one of these little mini lectures, you will actually see that rubric with my comments and your grade points at the end of the week. So your analysis needs to include examples of the multi-tiered structure of the system, and then relating to the course concepts and theories to this analysis. An explanation of the criminal case process, and it has to be a substantive. That means meaningful explanation of the case flow process. Examples of a case progression through the system. So this, all of the assignments fit. This is linked in content, in critical elements to the discussion board question. If you look at the two, there are similarities there. The idea of the flow process, how a law is made, the discussion board question, and in this case an example of a case progression. So you can follow a real case or just a hypothetical one. It could be a hypothetical burglary who went off. My brother was a criminal defense attorney for a short time, and maybe this will help give you a feel. The police department, a major metropolitan police department, took a theft report, a burglary rather, of one of the lost items was a very unique bird, an exotic bird, very distinctively colored. The detectives working another unrelated case go to a house to make contact with a suspect. They look in the window and they see that very distinctive bird. They know right away what they have. So the correct way to handle that is to go get a search warrant, go get the case agents that are handling it, force entry or sit on it and wait for somebody to show up, collect the evidence and arrest the suspect. Not a complicated process. They were so enamored with this bird and so anxious to pick on the other detectives because they couldn't find the lost bird that they kick the front door, seize the bird, other evidence, and arrest the suspect when they find him. He's convicted of burglary. My brother got him out of state prison on appeal, on a procedural error. So now there's a very quick example of a progression partially through the court system. Okay, I hope I sped that up for you, and I hope it gives you some idea of, number one, how not to do police work, and number two, how this process works. Okay, what are the impact on the court system? A substantive explanation of how the hierarchy impacts the practitioner. Again, your actual work has to be free of errors related to citations. Yes, you need to use APA citations, including wherever you found the source, the State Bar Association, Superior Court, whatever you're looking at. No grammatical errors, spelling errors, syntax is sentence structure and meaning, and the overall organization of your paper. And then it has to be presented in a professional and easy to read format. Here's an example of what I did for this class. I just went to Google, not Google Scholar or anything else, just Google, and put in California Court Case Flow Chart. And I don't know whether we'll be able to open this or not. Yep. And so there it is. There's the California court system, and it explains everything. So all the answers to all the questions for this paper are listed here in order. And then when we get down here, here's a civil case. Well, we don't want that. Here's a criminal case and how it's processed. So if you can find that for your state, you're in business. Here's how appeals are handled, so on and so forth. So you get an example to see all of that done fairly simply, actually, for you, perhaps a little time consuming. I would say this is about a 2-hour assignment. I hope that, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot about the APA citations. Several of you have commented in your icebreaker about worrying about the citations and how difficult it is. Yes, there is software available. That's up to you if you want to use that. The in the Blackboard shell on the left-hand side where it says, excuse me just a second. On the left-hand side, one of the buttons is Research and Writing. If you click on that, then there'll be Citation Styles and Introduction. What that is just a very short clip in very general terms. The next one down or two down is called a Checklist for Writing, and that links you to Purdue University Online Writing Lab, OWL as it's referred. You'll find everything in the world you need there. So let's see if we can open this one. Okay, so when you open it up, this is now, we've gone to the Purdue University website, and if you, whatever it is you're looking for, you can find here. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's general writing, the writing process, writing task, resource list, and so on. How do you start writing, pre-writing, all of those sorts of things. Including in here are sample papers for basic format. And so if you go over here to the left side, there's also a guide for the APA guide. And that's what we use here at Southern New Hampshire for this course, is the American Psychological Association citation method. So hopefully that gets you off onto the right foot and where you need to go. Hope this helps. Let me know. I have one more of these for week 1, and then in the coming weeks there won't really be quite as many. Thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate it.